Shalom and welcome to Parasha Espresso, the weekly fix for spiritual lessons taken from the Parasha. Grab your coffee and let's take a look at the weekly Torah reading. Today we'll be looking at Parashat Chukat, which runs from Numbers 19 verse 1 to chapter 22 verse 1. Enjoy it, and don't forget to give us your feedback on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, or via our website.
If I'm brutally honest, I've done it quite often. Whether it's with bus or tram drivers, or people who block the doors as I'm trying to leave a vehicle, I've lost my temper and shouted at a number of people over the years. And it seems like it's not just me. It seems like anger is all the rage, if you'll pardon the pun. Whether it's road rage or internet rage, we seem to be becoming an angry people. With social media and the paparazzi, it seems like there's also no escape for people with short fuses, especially celebrities. Whether it's Kanye West or Serena Williams, there are a lot of people with anger management issues that we hear about every day in the news. So, why are we so angry? And what's the solution? This week's parasha is another eclectic mix of different themes. We've got the famous red heifer, or cow, that is used in another elaborate ceremony, a couple of battles, and several more cases of our people losing their temper with Moshe and God. The defining moment comes, however, when our people get water rage because they haven't had a proper drink for a while, and they're still wandering through the desert. Moses is, understandably by now, more than a little fed up. He's given them water before, way back in Parashat Beshalach, but this time it's different. God tells him to talk to the rock instead of hitting it like last time. But Moses, probably tired and fed up with the people, tells them that he will give them water from the rock and proceeds to smash it with his staff. Thankfully, water does flow out of the rock and our ancestors can have some much needed refreshment. But all is not as kosher as things appear. God takes issue with Moses trying to sort things out himself instead of listening to God and speaking to the rock, and as a result, Moshe, along with the rest of his generation, will die in the wilderness. Anger makes us do some pretty stupid things, most of which we instantly regret, right? Whether it's something as simple as venomous words directed at someone who has incurred our wrath, or something more sinister such as physical assault, anger can cause us to boil over and lose control. Was this the case with Moses? I don't know, because the text doesn't tell us. But I could totally understand if it was. After all, Moshe Rabbeinu, though he was a great man, was just that, a man. And men and women are fallible, flawed and inconsistent beings. I should know. I'm one of them. So what do we do with our anger? How do we handle those times we want to explode? Should we take anger management classes or try thinking positively? What about counting to 10? While some of those solutions can offer short-term results, we ultimately need a change of heart if we want to win against our anger in the long term and stop its destructive effect on our life. In order to do that, we have to turn to someone who knows anger very well, the angry God. I think it's probably accurate to say that many people's view of God is one of an angry man who sits in the clouds waiting to smite his enemies at the slightest hint of transgression. The other extreme would be portraying God as a powerless grandfather who loves people and just wants the best for them. I believe the Bible gives us a third option, a God who is slow to anger and full of love for us, his creation. But here's the catch, he does get angry. But the difference between his anger and ours is that his is justified, whereas ours is, usually, not. If our anger is at the injustice done to the poor and downcast, then I think we're close to understanding God's anger. Unfortunately, our anger is usually self-motivated and unjustified. Someone says something unkind, and we want to punch them in the face. God is not the angry thunderbolt caricature that we sometimes make him out to be, but he is angry at wrongdoing, injustice, and exploitation. Why? Because he loves us so much and can't stand to see his creation wronging others and being wronged. It's perhaps a hard pill to swallow, but I'm glad that God is angry at these wrongs in society. Yet I'm also glad that he does not have anger management issues, and that instead of wiping us out, in his love, he gives us a way to be changed. At the turning point of history, as Messiah was being executed for crimes he didn't commit, God poured out his anger on the Messiah instead of us. This was what the Messiah Yeshua chose, to take the full force of God's anger so that we, the people who truly deserve it for the way we've damaged not only the world, but ourselves and each other, can be radically changed. God promises under the new covenant that He told us about through Yirmiyahu HaNavi, Jeremiah the prophet, that He would write His Torah on our hearts. In other words, He would change our hearts so that we can live the best way, free from, among other things, our selfish anger and the desire to get even. Through being forgiven, we can learn to forgive and let things go. So whether you're like me who loses my temper sometimes with bus drivers, or whether you've got very serious anger management issues, or whether you wouldn't hurt a fly, we can all come to God and ask Him to change us. Selfish, misdirected anger is not a virtue, and it will ultimately lead to you ruining your life and others as well. Bring your rage, whatever it is, to the one who understands and longs to forgive you and change you for the better. Hope in the Messiah Yeshua and discover His peace. What's holding you back?
That's it for this episode. We hope you enjoyed our Parasha Espresso. Please don't forget to subscribe to make sure you get the latest episodes. We'd love to hear from you, so please get in touch with us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, or via our website at 𝐂𝐴𝐻𝐵𝐻𝐸.